Okay, you probably know that Marine Money is a publication. We gather intelligence. We invite shipping companies and finance institutions every year to advise us of the transactions which they have done during the year, and we pick winners and give awards for best deals. One of the best deals last year was the Structured Finance Deal of the Year. And this went to a group of Korean financiers who put together a massive financing for LNG carriers for QatarGas. We're going to have a discussion about that transaction now. I'd like to introduce Jun-Hyung, who's Head of Overseas Business Division and Director of KDB Infrastructure Investments Asset Management, KIAMCO. Jun, please.
So I'm Jun-Hyung from the KAMCO, serving as moderator for the session, and we're joined by individuals representing Korea's representative financial institutions, and it is my honor to be serving as moderator. As introduced, Marine Money is a major publication in shipping industry, and they are holding global fora, and they'll be giving out awards for major deals each year. So they are Marine Money's Deal of the Year Award. Last year, we provided financing for 15 LNG vessels through this consortium. In recognition for such effort, we received an award in Structured Financing Deal of the Year in 2022. So we'd like to make that public in front of you and have some discussions regarding that deal. So you may be curious about what the deal is about. So allow me to briefly explain to you what the deal is about. QatarEnergy, since 2019, has ordered more than 100 LNG vessels. Last year, in its first installment, QatarEnergy held a bidding for time charter involving 50 vessels. Korea's K-3 Consortium participated in the bidding and won our bid for 15 vessels involving time charter. It was upon us to provide financing for the deal. So 15 vessels translated into $3.2 billion. The huge amount was funded by these financial institutions consisting of senior lenders and junior investors. In recognition of the size of the deal, Marine Money presented the award to the consortium. The deal is, in my view, very significant in the history of Korean shipping industry. First, if you take a look at its impact on the shipbuilding industry, most of the 100 LNG vessels have been ordered with Korean shipbuilders. Korean shipbuilders have been doing a good job, but through this event, they demonstrate once again their excellence. And in terms of its significance on the Korean shipping industry, the industry was used to be focused on the domestic market. In early days, we didn't have domestic carriers. We had to lease overseas vessels for transport. But shipping companies, through KAMCO and POSCO and KOGAS, we have been able to own our own fleet. We're now providing vessels for third countries as well. And a few years ago, with Vale, the Korean shipping companies were able to enhance their standing with Vale through the Qatar deal. As you're well aware about LNG deals, it is a field that requires sophisticated technology. And QatarEnergy is one of the largest shippers in the world. And we were successfully bid to obtain an order for 15 vessels. This is very significant in terms of the history of the Korean shipping industry. This indicates that the Korean shipping industry will be able to handle and every deal, no matter the size. And if you take a look at the amount, it is $3.2 billion. I've been working in the ship financing for 20 years, so this is the largest deal I've ever seen. And going by global standards, the deal of $3.2 billion is classified as massive. What's more surprising is that the amount was financed by Korean institutions in the past. If the deal size amounted to $500 million, we had to rely on overseas institutions. But through this deal, we can showcase the growth our industry has achieved so far. So in the run-up to the successful deal, there had been a lot of efforts by many institutions, K3, Pan Ocean, H-Line, and SK Shipping. So they have worked a lot, and there has been a lot of effort on the part of syndicates for participating in the panel as well. So I'd like to introduce to you the panelists. I'd like to have them introduce themselves and their roles.
팀장님부터.
Maybe you can start first, Ms. Kim-Young. Good morning. I am working in project financing in KDB, and my name is Kim Jung. In this project, along with KEXIM, KDB served as the senior lender.
예, 안녕하십니까.
My name is Dong-Hyuk Kim, and I am the director in Maritime Finance Group in KEXIM. My team covers all the accounts of shipping companies, and we are majorly working on the senior loans. I am working in KOBC. My name is Jang-Hee, and I am the head of MSE finance team. In my team for established shipping companies, we are offering the shipping financing for purchasing new and second-hand vessels, and also we offer guarantee, and also through pass-through, we support the financial stability and the operational stability of these shipping companies. My name is Taek Kim. I am working in Maritime Finance team in KAMCO. The other institutions were introduced, but let me briefly talk about what KAMCO is doing in maritime industry. KAMCO, the Asset Management Corporation, follows the policy direction of the government. So we are in charge of various programs such as the asset management and all the other government-related asset or risk management. The reason why KAMCO is participating in this project is in the wake of 2008 global financial crisis. The global economy was hard hit, and the freight rate and the transportation costs plummeted, and many new SPC were cancelled. All of these have negative impacts. Some losses or financial instability of shipping companies had a widespread effect on shipyards and all the other relevant stakeholders in the industry. So, looking at the situation, the Korean government announced the relevant policy support to support the maritime industry in Korea. KAMCO acquired 32 vessels from the shipping businesses to be part of the Korean government support program for maritime industry. Since then, the restructuring and the request from the industry as a whole continued to ask KAMCO to be continuously engaged in supporting all the relevant shipping and maritime industry. Since 2015, the Korean government ended its fund support. But as I said before, upon the request of the industry as a whole, KAMCO directly started to support all the shipping companies by establishing funds, and all those operations or our businesses have continued so far. We provide liquidities, and we also have to improve financial robustness, and also we also provide support to secure more eco-friendly vessels. Apologies for such a long introduction. I am working in KDB. My name is Jun-Hyung, and I am the head of shipping fund team. Thank you for Marine Money for organizing this wonderful occasion. Let me introduce my team. In 2008, the financial crisis took place, and that was when our team was born. We established the 3 shipping funds, and more recently, we established a new fund to invest in maritime infrastructure. Each fund has 1 billion budget for investment. After the global financial crisis, mainly we focused on 3 funds. The financial crisis affected negatively many shipping companies in Korea, so the 3 funds mainly supported all these companies. And also, more recently, if shipping companies have difficulties in securing liquidities, we also provided small-scale support. And more recently, the new funds are used to support maritime industry to cope with regulation change to achieve net zero target. And the recent fund is used to invest more in maritime infrastructure. If you are interested in this type of investment, please find me. I am ready to discuss.
Thank you for your introduction. Let us ask a question regarding the deal. As I mentioned, the size of the deal is huge, amounting to $3.2 billion. When banks usually participate as part of a syndicate, they contribute up to $15 million, but $3.2 billion requires a syndicate of 45 banks if each contributes around $70 million, but the fund was made possible by 4 institutions, which makes the event very significant. If you take a look at the structure of the loan, there was a K-3 Consortium with unique characteristics, and a time charter was given by Qatar Energy, and there was a charter suspension option that added to the complication of the deal. So it took a long period for you to form a consortium. I thought you would have to go through a lot to persuade and win approval internally. So can you tell us how you obtained internal approval to provide financing that can help us understand the structure of the deal, and they can help others approach you if they have similar needs? We'd like to start with senior lenders. We'd like to start with a KDB, which served as a senior lender in the deal. As you mentioned, this project was based upon a domestic consortium which participated in a global bidding, and as a result, we won a huge order, which was a win-win for all of us involved. In terms of difficulties obtaining approval, so this is what I was asked to speak about earlier. So looking back in March 2011, the project was first announced by Qatar Energy. In December 2022, the financial closing occurred. So that indicated we went through a lot during the course of the project. First, let me speak about the market condition back then. Material prices were rising, and new shipbuild's price also rose. The project dealt with more than 100 vessels, which caused concerns from the market. The project cost was rising, and freight costs were also rising. We at the consortium were concerned about how to accommodate the deal. So we had a lot of concerns, and as a result, we formed different tranches and put in a mechanism for cash flow. So that is how we structured the deal. We had some specific conditions where we have to go through a lot for internal approval. The KDB was supposed to serve as senior lender. We had to make sure that everything would run smoothly together with other collaborators. So there had been a lot of follow-up working level discussions among consortium members. And last year, interest rates started to rise, which had an impact on the market condition, and we had to do some swapping and novation, which added to our financial structure of the deal. And overall, we faced significant market fluctuations, and the Qatar Energy imposed certain conditions. If we had formed a general syndication, we would have encountered a lot of causes to break the deal. The KDB and other consortium partners from policy institutions pulled together to finance this huge project. So we were very committed, and shipping companies had a great understanding about ship financing. So they're able to successfully structure the deal financially. And from the standpoint of KDB, thanks to this huge project, as a national agency, we have been able to make a contribution to the domestic shipbuilding and shipping industries. So I'd like to thank all of you for that. Thank you.
예, 다음 우리
Next, let me invite Mr. Kim Taek from KEXIM. As I said before, this project was really a landmark for my bank. And taking this opportunity, I would like to thank the 3 shipping companies in the consortium for giving us such a good opportunity to participate in this landmark deal. As introduced, this project is huge in terms of the size of a fund, and also it took over 2 years. And during the process, our working level officials actually changed it a lot. Because it took long period, many consultations were required, and also it required many approval processes and reporting processes. The flow of charter fee was one of the big questions because we had 3 liners in consortium, so we need to add additional 1 step. So in-house discussion compared to usual ship financing options, we need to help our senior leaders to understand about the unique structure of the deal. It was quite a tricky deal, nevertheless, because all of our syndication had one goal together. The shipliners also provided very good support, and all lenders shared a consensus and common understanding about the importance of this project for the national economy. So as a result, even though there were some challenges, we all gathered wisdom together and had open-minded discussion together. There are some people who participated in this deal in the early days but left the deal as time passes by. And probably next year, I will also move to another team. Nevertheless, by joining in this project team, now I had the confidence that our financial institutions and the Korean economy are ready to have this big deal. We are providing loans and exposures to 40 to 50% of new shipbuilding in Korean shipyards. So because we have such a big exposure, probably that played a pivotal role for us to be part of the deal. For this Qatar project, it is really meaningful not only for shipping companies but also for Korean shipyards. In this maritime financing industry, the Korean maritime financing industry increased its ranking from 11th to 6th, and that was possible thanks to this Qatar project. And also, I would like to deliver my thank you message here.
은행
So we heard from the senior lenders, and we also have junior investors whose investment amounts are rather smaller, but they shouldered a lot more risks as junior investors. So that indicated they had their own shares of concerns. So we'd like to invite one of the junior investors to listen to what concerns they had. So the Qatar project was a priority for us. So we worked together on the project across the enterprise. And as a result of the project, the KOBC has been able to devise a cash flow plan, and the project has been successful, which is acknowledged across our organization. And notably, our deliberation period included the US's tightening measures. So during that time, interest rates rose dramatically. And the LNG market itself, the winter in Europe was rather warm. So the LNG's TC rates were facing a downward pressure. And members across our organization did a lot of persuasion to go ahead with the project.
예, 다음 우리 캄코
Next, Mr. Kim from KAMCO. Actually, I am not the person who was directly engaged in this project because I joined in the team early this year. So I only indirectly learned about the deal about QatarEnergy, and also I learned many lessons from this project because it gave me many insights, and also it gave my company many insights. There is a Korean saying that if there are too many chefs, that it spoils the broth. And as you can see in this project, there are so many chefs here. 3 shipping companies form the consortium, and also there are several financial institutions. Compared to the size of the fund, the number of financial institutions may not look many or large, but as you can see, there are KDB, KEXIM, KAMCO, KOBC, etc. All of these financial institutions have different visions and different goals for its establishment, and also different scope of businesses. Nevertheless, to strengthen the overall capacity of the industry, we worked hard together. And also we made an effort to achieve the same goal. As said before, this deal was really complex, so it took much longer than expected until closing. During the period, as said before, the people at the working level moved to another team or another department. As a result, the overall efforts, time consumed for this single project were much larger compared to other projects. That was one of the difficulties we experienced. In addition, before delivery, the interest which take place are capitalized to reduce the burden on participants. That's the structure of the deal. But for the last decade, the KAMCO have participated in many shipping funds, but this type of structure was really unprecedented. As a subordinated lender, naturally, there were voices of concern. So in the corporation, we had many heated debates and discussion and have made intense efforts to gain approval. Nevertheless, we overcame all those challenges and made the project successful. In this perspective, I believe it is quite meaningful.
감사합니다. 우리
Thank you. Kim, the KDB participated as a senior lender as well as a junior investor. So can you tell us about what you feel about the deal? Due to our bank's policy, when you make an investment as a junior investor, we have to make an internal report. So those who are familiar with financing may think that the route we have taken might be a little bit different. For starters, our directors ask, we are dealing with LNG carriers. In the past, I was involved in power projects, and our directors asked, LNG carriers used to be fueled by coals, but they believed that LNG carriers had little to do with net zero. And they questioned whether the LNG market will be sustainable in the future. So directors were rather skeptical of the prospect of the market. And our response was, LNG carriers will make a transition to renewable in the long run, but in the transit, LNG will be a key fuel in the meantime, and LNG carriers will be an opportunity for us to recoup return on investment. And the deal size was huge. And KDB and KEXIM served as senior lenders, and we have 3 to 4 junior investors. So I asked a lot of questions regarding exposure to Qatar. Qatar has a great credit standing, and Qatar has huge natural gas reserves. That said, we're talking about one country and one carrier. They questioned whether it was wise to have such huge exposure to one company or one country. We responded that there won't be concerns regarding Qatar's credit rating, and making the deal possible would be a landmark instant for the Korean shipping industry. That would help us diversify our portfolio, and that would signal the start of a new era for our industry. So we used this rhetoric in order to win over our directors. And we obtained approval toward the end of that year. And as you mentioned, interest rates were rising. We faced inflationary pressure. So this made us believe that we would experience cost overruns rather than cost saving. We didn't consider much regarding interest rate hedge, but we had to depend on that as part of risk mitigation. So we had to make such considerations as we were dealing with a huge deal size. And so these were some of the topics where we received questions from directors. But the shipper, Qatar Energy, and stakeholders enjoyed good credit standing, so we didn't face significant opposition to make an investment in the deal. Thank you.
Thank you. So listening to all those remarks, I am reminded of all those challenges I had experienced, and once again, I found that this was a really big deal and this was meaningful for all of us. At this moment, I think it's time for us to celebrate on ourselves. So I would like to ask Kevin to take over the award ceremony.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jun. So as mentioned in the beginning of the session, earlier this year in April, Marine Money had the honor of awarding this deal, this landmark historic deal for Korean shipping finance. And it was published in our magazine and read worldwide. But now that we're here in Korea, we would like to take this opportunity to, in person, hand the awards to the team on the stage. So I'll take it from the beginning and one by one hand the awards. So our chairman, Jim Lawrence, will be handing out the awards. So to KDB as a senior lender and as fund investor in KDB KAMCO on behalf of K-3 Consortium and QatarGas. On behalf of Korea EXIM Bank as a senior lender on behalf of K3 Consortium and QatarGas. On behalf of KOBC as junior lender as fund investor in KDB KAMCO on behalf of K3 Consortium and QatarGas. On behalf of KAMCO, junior lender as fund investor in KDB KAMCO, on behalf of K3 Consortium and QatarGas. And lastly, the fund manager, KDB KAMCO, on behalf of K3 Consortium and QatarGas. A big congratulations to the team for making this deal possible. If you could stand for a group photo with your awards, please.